Hey everyone, it's Jess, back with the Lattes and Lifting podcast. I am coming at you as a solo this week. Jill and I are going to be changing a little bit of scheduling with when we record the podcast. So you're going to be getting a few more quick solos from the two of us and just some more depth to the topics when it is both of us together. So I thought I thought, geez, wow. I thought I would start off with something that is really near and dear to my heart, and that is 10 truths that I've learned as an athlete with 20 years of endurance experience. I know that is hard to believe. It's hard for me to believe that I've been doing endurance sport for 20 years, but it is true. I am old. You guys know that. Jill makes fun of me all the time. But endurance sport teaches you a lot about yourself. And since I started coaching endurance athletes, I do believe that the ultimate in endurance sport is to learn something new about yourself. It's not really about the racing. I mean, for some people it is, but it is everything that you do, you learn something new. And you'll hear people say, oh, you either win or you learn something. I haven't won a heck of a lot of endurance races, so I've learned a lot. Okay, here's my 10 truths. These are just off the top of my head, by the way. I jotted these down the other day. So, truth number one, you're not a professional athlete, so don't train like one. We have jobs, we're parents, we have social activities, things like that. If you find yourself putting your endurance sport before those things, we need to take a look at what's going on. And I say this because I was this person. I missed fun things, fun activities, time with family. I put my endurance sport first, and where did it get me? I'm still here. I have a job. None of those times was I ever getting paid as an athlete. And the $20 you get on the podium of a bike race, it doesn't count. You maybe get your entry back. Sometimes that was great. You break even, so cool. So try not to take yourself too seriously. It's supposed to be fun, right? It's supposed to be fun. Strength will trump speed work, and you need to be strong to go fast. So back when I was a baby triathlete, I did, the tempo work, the intervals. I was in a track group. I went to swim training. I did so many things. And one thing I didn't do was strength train, even though I was a personal trainer, which I know sounds crazy. It sounds crazy to me now. But eventually your body will break down from the intensity and the load, and you won't have anything to back it up. And then you won't be able to run fast, and you'll be slow and weak. So, strength training, stay strong, get faster. Trust yourself. Trust the work that you've put in, trust your previous mileage. You'll hear me talk about lifetime mileage. Sometimes there will be events or races that you won't get to train like you wanted to for, be it your life, your maybe smoke, weather, things like that, and you will feel like you haven't done enough. Trust yourself. You can do it. I have prided myself on the last few years of doing very minimal training and coming up okay. So if I can do it, you can do it. Number 4, a solid nutrition plan goes a long way. So this kind of goes back to number 3 is lifetime miles, nutrition plan. Sometimes you're like, I don't know if I've put in the work that I need to put in, but I have a great nutrition plan. And to have the ability to not have to think about stuff like that can really boost your confidence in any kind of event. I've had pretty much the same nutrition plan since 2017. And I don't worry, I don't stress about nutrition because I know exactly what I need to do. And that's probably one of the only things that I can really control, other than like my attitude during a race, is I can control my nutrition for the most part. So if that's something you need help with, please reach out. I've been talking to a lot of clients about that lately. Okay, number 5. Experience can make you more chill. It can also make you really uptight. So going back to number 1, if you find yourself stressing too much about these races or endurance events or any event that you've signed up for, we might need to take a different approach. It's supposed to be a little bit stressful. It's okay to be nervous, but there is nervous and then there's being just ridiculously uptight about it. And I used to be that person. I would go back into transition of a triathlon and check to make sure that I had socks for 3 times in a row. I would have my tires at just the right PSI. I would, you know, like stress about every little detail when truly the more you do it, the more you just know what you need to bring. I know sometimes I'll do a packing list now, but honestly, most of the time I'm like, I know exactly what I need for this length of run, and these are the kind of socks I'm going to wear. These are the shoes I'm going to wear. This is kind of the outfit I have in mind. This is my nutrition. I know exactly what I need to grab, that I can do it rather quickly. I don't have to pack for a race, 4 days in advance, unless you're leaving 4 days in advance, and then that's different. But experience can make you more nonchalant, not necessarily nonchalant, like you don't care, but just you are at an appropriate level of care and concern. Number 6, buy good gear once, not cheap gear 100 times over. Honestly, you're going to end up spending the same amount anyways. So don't try to find a dupe for something when there's a product that works really well. Whether it be like a running vest on Amazon that's just going to chafe you for years, buy one that fits you well. Shoes, find shoes that work for you. Don't be afraid to spend some money on your feet. If you're a runner, that is where your time is spent, is on your feet. So let's take care of them. Buy good nutrition products. Don't try to make your own gels. Don't be a hero there. I can guarantee you that doesn't end well. A good rain jacket, warm clothes, things like that, right? Like spend the money once and you're good. And once you find something you like, buy a few, because there's a good chance you'll never find it again. Number 7, work on the things that scare you. This is particular. I see a lot of cyclists and triathletes. Ride your bike outside. Get to know how your bike handles. Ride with other people. I've seen so many things, whether it's like social media or whatever, people do all their training at home on their trainer, and then they go to a race and they crash and they're like, I don't know what happened. I can tell you what happened. You don't know how your bike handles with wind or rough pavement or other people around. You don't know how long it takes you to brake when you need to brake. You don't know how to shift your gears when you're actually climbing up a hill versus not. You don't know how to handle yourself to cross railroad tracks or a crack in the pavement. Practice those things. If you know that you're going to be in a race close to other people or with those kinds of, not very many races happen where it's pavement that is absolutely untouched. So practice all those things. Open water swimming. If you know you have an open water swim, make sure you get into a lake if you can. Otherwise, you might be in the middle of said lake having a panic attack because you can't see the bottom of the pool. The black line is not there at a lake. Trail running. If you are nervous about trail running, but you really like the idea of a trail race, maybe go run on a trail. These are all things that you should be doing. I like the phrase "train as you race." For yes and no, I like it. Uh, I don't. I like it because yes, you should be doing experience. You should be practicing taking your water bottles out of your water bottle holders. I don't know how many times I've heard of people crashing because they're trying to get their bottle back in and they don't know how to ride with one hand. There's an easy fix, and that easy fix is practice. Ride up and down your street, taking your water bottle in and out for like 100 reps, if that is your struggle. And don't try anything new like that on race day. If you've never practiced and you're like, oh, I'm going to crash if I do this. Well, yeah, you probably will. I'm sorry that sounds kind of harsh, but I'm telling you, so many times I see people post about things like that. And I'm like, there was an easy prevention. And that prevention is practice. Now, there are crashes that absolutely cannot be prevented, but I you guys know I did a lot of bike racing and I have never crashed in a group and I have avoided several group crashes in Peloton. So if you know how to handle a bike, sometimes you can just ride around and keep yourself safe. Number 8, it is okay to take breaks. Your sport will always be there. So if you're a triathlete and you feel like you're kind of bummed about triathlon, maybe do some bike racing for a while. Maybe do some running for a while. Maybe just focus on swimming for a while. Maybe don't do any of those things and come back in a few years when you're feeling kind of fired up again. Um, you you know that I was a triathlete, went to bike racing, didn't run for a couple years. I haven't swam in so long, and I honestly don't miss it. So don't count on that happening anytime soon. But even road riding, kind of done with that right now. Never say never. I still have a road bike, but really more into, gravel, cyclocross, mountain biking. It just is what's working for me right now. But never say never. Number 9, don't fall victim to FOMO. Just because your friends are all signing up for a marathon, all signing up for an Ironman, doesn't mean you have to, unless you want to. I think this happens a lot. I always say triathlon is a slippery, slippery slope. You can get sucked into, you've done a half Ironman, so an Ironman's next. Doesn't have to be. I've never done a full Ironman, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with dying not being an Ironman. And you might have to really ask yourself what's important, because you sign up for that thing. First of all, that's a lot of money. Second of all, that's a lot of time. The big commitment. And I think sometimes we sign up for these big commitments just kind of willy-nilly. We don't really think about how we're going to train for it, how we're going to get there. It sounds really cool to do an ultra marathon. What does that look like in your life? If that ultra marathon is at the end of August, do you know when you're going to be doing all your long runs? Yeah, all summer long. So if you don't want to run long on Sundays all summer long, you should probably do an early race or a really late race. If you don't want to run in the heat, don't train for a race that's in August or September. And if you sign up for a triathlon in February, where do you think most of your training is going to happen if you live in Canada? Right. So think about these things when you sign up for a race. You're considering signing up for a race. There's not too many races these days that you have to be on the ball, sign up right away in order to get a spot. Some, yes, not all. It's not like it used to be. It's not like if you're in the triathlon world, you would know that for something like what Ironman Canada, like Penticton, like the old Ironman Canada, would be that in order to get a spot for the next year, you would have to volunteer the previous year, because the volunteers get first dibs on spots, or you wouldn't get a spot. Now, I think like it's at the end of August, they still have spots. So it's not the same as it used to be. You don't have to make these rash decisions about signing up for races as soon as they open, or to jump through all these hoops to get to them. And lastly, this is going to be super short. I'm happy that we're doing these little tiny episodes. Um, an undertrained athlete is better off than an overtrained one. So if you're worried that you haven't put in the work, good. I would rather you do that than come to me saying, I'm feeling really cooked and we have, a month or two until race day. I don't want you to be burned out from your training. Remember what I said at the beginning. This is supposed to be fun. And if you're not having fun anymore, something's got to change. Being overtrained can present in a bunch of different ways. Overtraining can look like being super, super tired, but not able to sleep. Lack of appetite, even though you know you need to eat. It can look like weird, sort of out of nowhere injuries, small injuries. And then it's like it clears up, but then this one pops up. It clears up, and then this one pops up, or something that's nagging, but really shouldn't be nagging. Um, it can look like absolute dread before your sessions. It can look like, losing interest in other things that you used to be really interested in. I'm missing one. I don't think so. I think if you're overtrained. And 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 I will say overtrained or under rested too. I think it's tricky to become overtrained. You really have to tell your brain to shut up a lot, and people have a hard time doing that. So, but under rested as well is a thing, and it's a gray area of overtrained, but under rested for sure. So looking at your total load um, through the week. Lots of your smartwatches will do that. So if you share your data with your coach, we can help. Undertrained, you know, there's sort of uh, there's like little, milestones that you can meet. So like I always say like, if you can run a 10K, you can definitely run a 10 miler, which is 16K. And if you can run a 10 miler, you can do a half marathon. And if you can do a half marathon, yeah, you can do 30K. If you can do 30, you can probably do 50. So race day adrenaline is a thing. It will take you further than you think, especially if you are undertrained. I would rather you be totally rested and feeling nervous about the distance than be a hair overtrained and be wanting to throw away your running shoes. So that's my 10 truths that I've learned as an endurance athlete. I hope that was helpful or enlightening for some of you. If you have one that you want to share or add to the list, please send us a DM to the @Lattes and Lifting podcast Instagram, or you can write us in the question box on Spotify. We just switched podcast hosts. So I'm not sure if there's a voice message option anymore. Somebody let me know if there is in the show notes. It's there's a whole bunch of other things going on in the background with the podcast, but that is one of them. Is we switched hosts, so things are going to be a little different, and hopefully we'll have our intro back soon. It's just a little bit more audio editing than I am capable of right now. So something's got to give, and that's going to be it for the time being. But thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Bye.